Yeah. What do we got going on here?
Yeah, my name's Nick Wynn. I'm a product and training specialist here for MEGUIAR'S. I've been with the company for almost 9 years now.
Hi, I'm Mike Stoops. I'm the Senior Global Product and Training Specialist. Probably got the coolest job here at MEGUIAR'S because I get to travel all over the world.
So I think the first thing to keep in mind when you're getting ready to wash a vehicle, work in the shade, real thorough rinse in the beginning to knock off as much as you can. We recommend a 2-bucket wash method. And essentially what that is instead of using 1 bucket, you have 2. And you have 1 bucket with your properly diluted car wash solution, more specifically a pH balanced car wash soap. That is not going to strip your wax like a dish soap or other detergents can. That's going to work to preserve the wax protection which is on the vehicle. Most of our MEGUIAR'S soaps are 1 ounce per gallon of water. And then you fill up a second bucket with plain water, and you use that plain water bucket to frequently rinse out your microfiber wash mitt. Because if you think about it, you dilute some soap, you go and wash a panel, well, where's all that dirt and grime that you're removing off the car? It's gonna be in your wash mitt. A microfiber specific drying towel is good for drying. Regular microfiber towels are going to be great for when anytime you're wiping off something like a wax or even using glass cleaner. Kind of have one side of your towel be your wet side, and then always flip to your dry side for the final wipe, and that's going to help reduce the chance of any streaks like that. There are a variety of types of wheel materials. You could have polished aluminum, you could have anodized or magnesium, you could have a factory clear-coated wheel, you could have chrome plating. Different wheel materials can be more sensitive to certain types of wheel cleaners and how aggressive that wheel cleaner is. So identify the type of wheel and then choose the right wheel cleaner for that material that the wheel is made of. These wheels are a little bit different because they're so covered. We're not really going to get a lot of brake dust that reacts with this. Typically on other wheels which are more open, this would actually turn purple, and that's how you know it's working to remove that brake dust and grime on there. Wheel brushes, depending on your wheel type, select a wheel brush that's appropriate. One thing that a lot of people forget to do is use a good quality all-purpose cleaner or degreaser type product on your tires. You don't have to do it every week you wash, but maybe every 2 or 3 weeks. Spray a good APC on there and scrub the tire. That's gonna strip off any dirt and grime and old tire shine and really give you a good clean slate for that next application of a tire conditioner or tire shine.
When we're talking about paint care, there's really 2 different types of situations that we're dealing with. One is the above surface contaminants, and the second is below surface defects.
Oh, don't burn it.
So we've most likely got some paint overspray on here, but this should be really smooth and not noisy like this. So we're going to use some nice detailing lights, and with all the metallic in here, it's a little bit difficult to see. This truck, we had some paint overspray issues, but for any car driving down the road, there's industrial fallout, there's road grime, you've noticed your tires as they get old, they wear down. That rubber has to go someplace, and it actually kind of comes off with little tiny, almost like dust particles of rubber, and it goes up in the air and it comes down and it lands on your car. And if it's not removed soon enough, or you don't have enough wax on your car, it'll actually stick to the paint so that even when you do wash the car properly, a lot of these contaminants remain stuck to the paint. This makes the paint feel rough to the touch even when the car is clean and dry. Getting all those contaminants off the surface makes it actually easier to wax, and the wax will stay around longer because wax is designed to stick to paint, not to the dirt. Nobody actually makes a wax for dirt because that's just a crazy notion. And we remove this very simply and easily with a clay bar. And people see this at first and they're a little put off by it, but it's literally a bar of synthetic clay. One really big caveat with this is if you drop this on the floor, it is now trash. And what the clay does is actually kind of shave it down and hang on to it. It's a little tacky. And we use that quick detail spray as a lubricant. And all we do is wet down an area of the vehicle, and then we just lightly rub the clay on the paint and let the clay do its job. And it breaks down these little tiny particles and stuff. So clay won't remove swirl marks and scratches and oxidation, because that's all below the surface. It only acts on the stuff that sticks to the top of the paint and makes it feel rough. When you're done claying the car, you should be pretty amazed at just how smooth that paint feels. Nice and quiet, nice and smooth. We've clayed it, we've decontaminated it. So now we can get into doing whatever other issues we might need to address that are below the surface, and that's where we do a compound or a polish or a cleaner wax, depending on exactly what we need to correct and what the goal is with the truck. But this part's done, and it's quiet and smooth. Success. Now, the second way that your paint gets attacked, or issues that you have with your paint, are what we call below surface defects. This is anything that's getting into the clear coat or down into the paint. Towel marks, fine swirl marks. If you run your car through a cheap old automatic car wash with the big nylon brushes, that starts to put really fine scratches in the paint. The way you remove like a fine scratch in the paint is to abrade the surrounding material and level it to the bottom of the defect. You've got some limitations. Clear coat from the factory is very thin. So if you can actually catch your fingernail in a scratch in the clear coat, that scratch is probably so deep that you can't remove it completely. But what you can do is kind of round over those edges with a paint cleaner, something like our Scratch Hex or Ultimate Compound, and that will diminish the appearance of it. It'll add clarity to the paint, it'll add reflectivity to the paint, because that actually comes from flatness and smoothness. And when you have all these fine little scratches, you don't have flatness and smoothness. What's the difference between the two if they're both machines that you can polish your paint with? Well, a rotary is, when you look at it pretty closely, it's basically an angle grinder. It is a direct drive tool. If you turn the pad, the entire gear set inside that tool moves. So if you put pressure down on this, you'll generate heat really quickly on the paint. It's a fantastic tool if you really know what you're doing with it. It's traditionally been used in body shops after wet sanding to remove those sanding marks. The problem with it is if you're not using it correctly, not only do you have the very real risk of overheating and burning through the paint, but even if you don't go that far, you tend to create what we call a rotary swirl, or kind of a hologram effect. Most people at home aren't trying to take out defects as severe as sanding marks, so they don't really need a rotary polisher. So something that's a lot safer made a lot more sense. The alternative to that is a DA polisher. We can take out sanding marks pretty routinely now with a DA. We now have high torque DA polishers like our own MT300. We can put a lot more compound onto a microfiber pad than we ever could on a foam pad, because the microfiber will hold onto it and a foam pad would just blow it out all over the car. All right, there's a big new buzzword out there in automotive paint care finishes, and that's ceramic. And ceramic's almost not even completely accurate. It's really silicon dioxide or SiO2 technology. So don't really think of that as an ingredient. It is the base technology that allows us to put in other ingredients that let us do really cool things. Basically, in a nutshell, it is the next generation in technology. The great thing about Carnauba is it's the hardest naturally occurring wax that there is, which is why it got adapted to use as automotive paint protection. The downside is it's a natural ingredient, so it's not incredibly durable. The next generation of technology got us into synthetic polymer sealants, like our NXT Tech Wax and now our Ultimate Wax. And this gets away from using just Carnauba really as the protectant, and we go into synthetic polymers, which are just long chain molecules. And what they do is literally cross-link and bond to themselves, so they become a much more durable protection to the paint. Well, silicon dioxide, SiO2 technology, is a great, huge leap forward in technology, even beyond synthetic polymers. And what the SiO2 does is it kind of acts as like a three-dimensional structure, but the cool part about it is what it allows us to add to it to create all kinds of different characteristics that give us even better protection. It actually allows you to create a much thicker layer of product than you ever could with a wax or synthetic sealant. And this is why we end up with these paint coatings that are wiped on and allowed to flash. They're actually leaving behind a measurable thickness of product, and that's because of the chemistry behind this SiO2. If you melt this stuff down and then flash cool it, you get glass. And glass actually is what we call hydrophilic. It loves water, it attracts water. So water naturally lays on it in a sheet. But these coatings tend to bead water like crazy. I mean, the beads of water like kind of start to tuck under. They're almost like little ball bearings of water. The whole ceramic thing comes from the fact that SiO2, which by the way is most commonly found in quartz and sand, is really kind of the precursor to making ceramic and to making glass. What we did with it was to make hybrid ceramic wax. This uses that SiO2 technology as the base, and then it allows us to put in other ingredients that, well, make the application process a little unusual maybe, but also to give us that incredible water beading and far greater durability than you'd get out of a carnauba wax or even a synthetic polymer. The carrier ingredients, in this case, the stuff that with a carnauba wax would dry and you'd wipe it off. In this case, the carrier ingredients love water. So when you rinse it away, they actually grab onto the water and rinse away with the water. The active ingredients try to get as far away from the water as they can, and they do a great job of grabbing on and attaching to the paint. And they do it like that. All of these are designed to basically do the same thing, and that is to act as a sacrificial barrier to protect the gloss that you created with all the previous steps. Carnauba wax is a natural excretion of a palm plant in Brazil. So it's a naturally occurring ingredient that we have to massage it quite a bit. It's almost hard as a rock. So it's not really usable on your car until it's been refined, and then with some solvents we can break it down and liquefy it so that we can spread it on the paint, let the kind of carrier ingredients either evaporate away or kind of dry up, and then you wipe it away with a towel and you leave the carnauba, which is the active ingredients, on the paint. Our ultimate wax, which is all synthetic polymers, whether you use the paste or the liquid, doesn't really matter. You're going to get all that durability and the hydrophobic characteristics of the polymers in that. It's just which format works better for the way you work is really what it comes down to. If you're applying your wax with a DA polisher, you may find that a liquid wax is a little bit easier to get on that pad and spread. Durability between the two, let's say we're talking about durability and protection. So for a daily driver, regardless of color, you might want to go with one of those more advanced technologies. But if you've got a real specialty car that only goes out on sunny weekends, you take it to shows, maybe you drive up and down the coast, it's a dark color, you may find that a carnauba wax gives you really the best look on that. The truth is, whichever one looks the best to you, whichever one you find to be the easiest to deal with, probably going to be the best choice for you.
The official stamp of approval.
Pop 72 looks amazing.